Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dad Poet Society. I'm here with a great friend of mine, Kevin Schilling, and he is a rock star dad. And I'll let you kind of share more, but known him a long time, and he has helped Erica and I and her family and my family with our cars and our trucks, our vehicles, and basically anytime we need it, you're like our mechanical superhero, like our auto superhero that just comes, swoops in, saves the day. We've had a lot of great chats, in the shop. We're obviously dropping off my car, my truck, and then we get into some really cool conversations. So you're definitely, I think, going to be just, our goal with this is just help dads be better dads. And I know that I feel like when I'm leaving our conversations, I feel like I'm equipped to be a better dad and go spend time with JJ and Julia and appreciate it more, and kind of, your words are in my head in a good way of making sure I'm focused on the right things. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
And then so you have so Spencer is 16.
Yep.
And then Chloe is 13.
13. Yep.
So again, this is selfishly too. You're helping me look into the crystal ball of fatherhood and see the future. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But we want to kind of start with too, like what do you get to know you a little bit, just kind of a little background on you, and this kind of what do you do when you're not on dad duty?
Well, I do have a automotive repair shop that you mentioned, and we've had the pleasure of helping and servicing a lot of people in the community. But that's a big, been there for 25 years, complete automotive maintenance repair, and my focus outside of dad duty is really growing that business and improving that business day in and day out. But especially with cars, they are just becoming more and more advanced every single day. So it's continually, educating and learning and training for the technicians and myself. So but every day just trying to improve, and it is a gift that to be able to, people need you, people need your help, and so there is a bit of satisfaction in it, and we we're able to do that. We're able to take a complicated problem and solve it. Get people where they want to go. But it's really fulfilling work with the people I work with and the people I get to service.
Yeah, you got a great crew, man.
I really do. And it took a lot of work to get them. You don't just get lucky. You've got to find them, and I've been extremely fortunate in that regard. One of which is my son, who just started really working full time and generating revenue for me this year.
There you go.
So 16, he can pull the cars in.
Your 16-year investment is
I told him that too. He wants to take a day off, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm finally making money on you.
It's a family business, man. There's no days off.
He gets it. But
good for him, man. That's awesome.
No, it is.
That's awesome.
I think it's important.
So, is there? I'm kind of like that topic of family business, or because I think about would JJ or Julia want to take over or be a part of what I do for my business? With Spencer, was it something that was he kind of naturally drawn to what you did just by kind of being around it and watching you, or kind of how did that kind of progress?
It was explained to him early on, when he was 9, 10, hey, when you're 12, you're gonna come into work and you're gonna start working with me a little bit in the summertime.
Okay.
And he was, I remember he's like, but Dad, I don't know what to do. I'm like, that's perfect. You don't need to know what to do. I'm gonna teach you everything. And when he was 12, he'd come in for one day a week, and he would just sweep floors and organize stock. And 13, he came in the office and would help me do a little bit of a paperwork filing, recap sheets, deposits, stuff like that, because he's really good at numbers, even at 13.
Awesome.
And progressively, he had to work more and more days. And now that he's 16, he actually can, drive the cars. He can service cars. He's a great tire tech. He's very analytical. He's problem solving, and the guys are great with him. So he didn't really, have an aptitude or at least a curiosity to be there. He had more of a fear, and but now he really is like one of the guys. And
that's cool.
What I love about him being there is because he is young. He's very curious about what the guys are doing, and I think the guys enjoy showing him what's going on. And
it's so like you can't put it necessarily into words, but kind of like I feel like there's kind of that renewal of the soul, kind of like that refresh of your like the human spirit, so to speak. This is all where when you're mentoring, even like being a dad, it's like it is such hard work, but like what you can't even explain how satisfying it is to like when they get that aha, or like to see them interested in something that you're coaching and
absolutely.
So yeah, that's cool.
And you see them follow through on a process that you gave them, and when they don't know you're watching, and you see them follow through. That gives you a good feeling inside. You're like, okay, all right, he's on the right track.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's always good. But in any stage of life, your kids kind of take to heart what you say.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's powerful.
And I think what's cool too is like he's like talking about sweeping the floors, right, and doing like the I feel like there's a lot of people that get into business and they don't think about sweeping the floors and cleaning the toilets and like unclogging the toilets.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like, all the just all the everything that I think we talked about is like everything that something breaks, like you gotta fix it. And I know my mom, like she scraped and clawed to like get her daycare. Kind of like she had this dream to have like she wanted like a castle so like if you go in her daycare, she had like one of the moms was like a teacher, a high school art teacher, and like painted like so it's kind of like a castle inside the daycare. And so and like kind of like the upper part of the building is like the sky and clouds and kind of thing. But I just remember when we got that, like you don't because I was a hard worker, and all my I had a paper out when I was 9, and you're just kind of like always a very hard worker, but it was never you were never like emotionally attached to work, if that makes sense. It didn't like mean everything, so to speak. And so I remember just working at my mom's daycare, and no one told me like, hey, pick up the wrapper on the ground. But it's just little things like that. How when it's your business. I never. It's not that maybe I didn't even notice the wrappers when it wasn't my business or my family business. So kind of like, it's cool how he's getting to learn. It's not just being the boss, right? It's not just the cool stuff.
Exactly.
It's like everything, because every weekend we were up there. We were painting or fixing things, and just there's always work to be done. So, but that's cool. He's like getting to experience like the true reality of a family business.
It's humbling. It's humbling work. It's sweeping floors and keeping the shop clean and even helping the technicians on getting their tools organized and getting clean and folding shop towels. It all counts.
Yes.
It all counts, and it's all important.
Yes. Now with and excuse my ignorance. So again, why I love going to you is because I know how to put gas in my truck, and besides that, I have no idea how it works. So I'm not a manly man, not a Mr. Fix It by any means. But do you kind of like going into the future? So JJ's 6 and Julia's 4. Like anybody that is young right now. Is what you do a great opportunity? Is there lots of people going into it? Is there a shortage? Like how is that?
Like automotive technicians, it's extremely shorthanded. But we are seeing an influx, especially in this area, of students taking an interest in automotive auto repair, and but we haven't seen them yet. But we're still 3 years out, I think, before we start to see them really hit the market, and then now they have to apprentice for 2 years. So we're still a few years out, but the average age of an automotive technician is around 58. That's in the
Gotcha.
U.S. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
struggle. So again, back to the staff that I have to put a team like that together, it was a lot of luck and a lot of hard work. It's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I guess too, if someone's like, if JJ wants to get into the automotive tech world, like,
Oh yeah.
do you start like middle school, high school? Like, what's kind of like, if you want to be, like, obviously you can come help at your shop, right? You kind of get to learn some things, but like, if someone wants to really make it a career path, like, um, is there like local schools that they would go to? Like, just excuse my ignorance on everything.
No, that's
so just like, how would that work?
Willoughby Tech, Auburn Career Center.
Okay.
They all have automotive, as part of their high school curriculum.
Yeah.
Then after that, they go to OTC, Ohio Technical College, which again trained for automotive repair, diesel techs, body techs,
Okay.
and so there's. But as far as a kid maybe just not sure, at 16 you can check out any one of the automotive repair shops. Ask them, hey, or dealerships. You can walk in and I'm looking for a job. Believe me, there'll be a position there, and you can learn a lot just being around the cars.
And I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't like, our team is just, I would say, like, our joke is we're just a bunch of nerds, right? We're a bunch of super nerds. We love diving into the research and knowing, being the expert and knowing what you do. But I know that, like, for example, like, there's so much of even just like the licenses you get, regardless of industry, a lot of it is like, hey, just pass the test, and then once you pass the test and your license, then we'll teach you how it really works. So I guess you feel like, someone's 16, being around it, like, you start, like, you feel like that's actually better than just going straight into the classroom, and then eventually, once you're out of the classroom, getting into it, because you can kind of get an appreciation for, like, okay, this is what you do when nothing's working. Like, the textbook says this is supposed to work, and it's not.
Right.
So, like, I guess, I don't know if it's like a million-word question, and I apologize.
No,
the Schleicher question, but the real-world experience, you feel like that is crucial for someone to really understand what they're getting into.
Well, hands-on is. I don't think you get a sense of what needs to be done or how to do it unless you get your hands on it. Any type of book or lecture, kind of gives you the principles of it, but you get your hands dirty, and I think that's true with a lot of career fields, but automotive especially, just digging in, getting your hands in, and 90% of the job is problem solving. It really is, remove starter. Well, doggone, the book didn't talk about what to do if the heads on the starter bolts are corroded off. What now? Back up. That's when it's great to have a senior tech or a supervisor who shadows all the new guys. And Les is trained a number of technicians.
Les is awesome.
He is great.
Great guy.
And he's great. He's great. He's like the father. I mean, he'll walk and
That's
yell
awesome.
at you, and
that's awesome.
But he's right there, because you can screw something up and cost me or the customer a lot of money if we don't do it right. So he's there to catch us when we fall.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That reminds. So again, I'm a big Batman nerd. So it's like it was Batman Begins when he's like, Master Wayne, why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves back up again. So you kind of you get your Alfred picking up all your little Bruce Waynes when they're falling in the shop kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in Les. So, but thank you, Les, for being awesome. Perfect. So anything else that you would add to that?
No, I forgot what the topic was. What were we talking about?
Well, so again, this is a perfect example. Kevin, being a business owner, when you're not on debt, it's perfectly normal you're just always flowing in and out of work, family, work. It's just like this constant.
It's weaved together quite a bit.
It's awesome.
Because my daughter started. She's 13. She works one day on Friday afternoon. She comes in and she's sweeping, and she's not as involved as Spencer was. And I think I pushed him a little bit more to be out in the shop. but she's not afraid of it, and she's she's used some of the impact guns and the tools, and that's awesome to see.
That's cool.
You can see her puff up a little bit when she's handling this big heavy impact and hitting the gun.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But the same applies for her. As she gets older, she will spend more time there, and whether she likes it or not, she will get her hands dirty at some point. But that's just part of it.
That's awesome.
And I think it's powerful for her to have that information and just that experience.
Well, too, and it's like she won't be that cliche kind of damsel in distress. So
Nope.
She's gonna know so much,
Right.
So I'm gonna be the damsel in distress,
No.
and Chloe's gonna come in and save me, right?
Again, I think that'll be powerful at some point.
Yes.
She won't ever see it now. She won't ever believe it. But at one point, I think in her life, she'll be like, "Oh man, I know how to do this."
Yeah.
That's it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you. And then with kind of the next question I have for you is, for Team IBB, like our talking about the principles before the text, like our kind of pillars of what we try to make all our decisions on is life, love, and legacy. So the life part is like, how did becoming a dad change your life? What was that experience like?
I remember honestly being afraid. Absolute, excitement, initially, but as the pregnancy went along, and then Spencer, my first son, kind of showed up. Absolute fear.
Terror, man.
Absolute fear, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to take care of him. I didn't. Then I'm projecting, 10, 20 years down the road. How am I going to provide for him? How am I going to? What if this goes wrong? What if? I do remember that not going away right away either.
Mm-hmm.
So. After that subsided, in about 6 weeks, I do remember that moment where that fear had been replaced with just absolute love.
Yes.
I remember the moment. I remember
Okay.
the moment because I came home and my wife Cindy had him up in the changing table, and I took off my boots and I come walking up from work, and she was changing them, and I walk in the room and he looked at me and his eyes brightened up, and I knew at that moment he knew exactly who I was, or I know that guy, and there was a bit of excitement, and I don't know why, but everything changed at that moment, and I stopped being so afraid, and really just got behind.
Yeah.
But being a dad has changed my outlook on every single aspect of my life, spiritually, relationships as a whole with other people, a lot of reflection as far as my father and my mother and their relationship with me, and like, oh, that makes more sense now. Like
everything makes sense now.
So every aspect, and then the way I treat the people that work for me. I mean, there's got to be a deeper relationship than just come to work and a paycheck. I mean, there's got to be love and and all of that. So I can't nail it down specifically, but I mean, gosh, it was after you got rid of that initial terror, it was absolutely just love, and just it just felt like things became a little clearer to me in all aspects.
Yeah, I know for me personally, hold on, we got delivery. No, we're good. This is how you doing, brother?
So sorry.
No, you're fine, man. So hey, if we go viral, you're famous, so it's all good. All right, so thank you, buddy.
I'm keeping this for the video.
So, well, this is perfect. We do it. Everything is Dad Poet Society. We do it live. This is what. This is the dad life, right? That is like
Never stops.
perfect dad life moment of like, all right, it's gonna be. You talking about like James before this, like you seem kind of nervous. You seem like I'm like, okay, we gotta make sure this is right. Gotta make sure, okay, is my ringer off? Is this off? Is that off? Blah blah blah. Right? Because the video's gotta be perfect, right? So like, is that not like? Walk me through that too, and people watching it's like how you have this perfect plan, right? Like, okay, now you have this perfect plan, and then it's like 5 seconds later, it's like boom, like Spencer says this or does this, or Chloe does this, says this, like kind of talk about how you just have to like really embrace. I don't know if I want to say embrace the chaos, but like embrace the absolute imperfection of your plans.
That takes time. That really takes, because as a dad, you want everything perfect for your family, for your kids. And it's never perfect. It never goes the way it goes in my head, ever.
It's going to be perfect.
And it doesn't. It's horrible. But just like you said, embracing the imperfections and getting rid of those expectations for anything, whether it's a vacation or it's a planned day off or gosh, I mean, every aspect of your life. How many times have I planned in a family event and it just goes south right away? And and it ruins everybody's time when you're disappointed because of that expectation. And you know what? Sometimes you just want to set the scene and then let it unfold. And get rid of those expectations.
There's once. I mean, there's a bunch of times that kind of stick out, but one time very much sticks out. I'd like to hear if you got something to stick out to you as well. But it just, especially when it's like, holidays. Like, I think this is a couple years ago. It was like a trunk or treat through Kirtland. So like we're gonna take the dress them up. We got got their they wanted to be you get the outfits and they're dressed up and we're gonna get candy. It's gonna be magical. It's gonna be it's gonna be this like picture perfect family Halloween thing, like something from the movies or a TV show or a greeting card kind of thing. And I remember the kid, like they were on a whole nother level of just misbehaving and not like, because you're trying to get it's like we know as a parent we got to be there by this time, otherwise there's gonna be no parking and we're supposed to meet the neighbors and their kids, so like all that's going on up here. The kids don't, like, they're just like, they're into whatever they're playing with, right? And we're trying to like it's trunk or treat, let's go, blah blah. And I just remember we're trying to get the kids out the door and it's just all hell is breaking loose and they're screaming and crying and I just remember being like, we're not going. We're not going. We're not going. Like, no, we're not. No, they're not going to behave. They don't get, they're going to act like this and then expect us to take them trunk or treating for a bunch of candy. And they're probably like, 2 and 4 years old.
Exactly.
But like talking about the expectation of like, this is supposed to be magical.
Right.
Why can't you behave? This is a magical moment. Don't you understand this is magical? So, and I just remember like we're not going, we're not doing it. And then like luckily Erica's like, James, we're going, we're doing this, and it just kind of like, that was very much an aha moment with me where it's just like, you take them on these vacations and the whole vacation is like JJ and Julie don't really fight, but you get them in the car together, like they're just sitting next to each other. They're like, everything's an argument, everything's so it's like, I guess, is there certain moments that like kind of stick out to you, or like even some stories or examples where you're like, I had this expectation, because like you want to have the expectation of like, we're gonna have a good time, like you don't want to just say, hey, everything's gonna be terrible, right? And like but like kind of how you have those expectations to do the best you can, but not letting those expectations kind of just like ruin the moment, ruin the experience. Like, is there anything kind of sticks out to you?
I was sitting here trying to think of that, and I can't think of a particular instance. However, I related to everything you were talking about with your story. Like, we're not going. Yes, I've done that. Forget it. We're not going to do it now. I'm like, I mean, I've done that, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I feel so good that you said that, because and you can't you read my mind? Can't you? Don't you know the script?
This is magical.
You've seen this on the TV. I've been planning this for weeks, and
so much time and effort and money and everything.
And you're right. The kids don't know what was planned or how it was pictured in your mind. And now that they're older, they have their own expectations. But I remember planning detailed events, and they all go south and forget it. Go to your room.
Go to your room.
It's over.
Happiness is over. Like,
it's terrible. And it's all because of our own expectations. And what did you expect? But it is, there's something to be said. You know what? Those magical moments just don't exist the way we picture them in our minds.
Correct.
They just don't. They're not like that. I mean, they're like that on TV, but not in real life.
Right.
They're just not. At least in my experience. But there have been absolute magical moments when you're not counting on.
Well, I feel that's when it's like the harder you try, the less magical it is, and the more you just kind of like let them be, like just let trunk or treat just unfold, like just whatever happens, let it be, and because I feel like even at 16 and 13, like, do you feel like they even read you better? Like they can like Dad, are you to bed? Like, Dad, there's something wrong or something like JJ, like this past weekend, I had a moment where it was just kind of like, fine, whatever, I don't care, right? And then Julie's like, Dad, you made JJ sad, and then like, oh man, here we go, like, well,
Yeah.
And then it's like, the natural instinct is like, well, you guys made me sad, like, but that's not like, you're the dad, you can't really like, go back, like, practice what you preach kind of thing, so, but, just kind of, the next morning, just kind of, I was like, James, get your head out of your tail, kind of thing, like, what are you doing here, and just kind of, I was like, JJ, like, has Dad been grumpy lately? Like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, man, like, can you forgive me, can you just let me know when I'm being grumpy, and
That's
I'll
powerful.
snap out of it,
That's
so,
powerful.
so it's just, I don't know, man, like this, it's just part of being human. I guess is like with your kids now that they're older, do they call you out on your moods or just kind of things more, or like, how does that?
No, they don't call me out on my moods. They certainly won't call me out.
Not trying to like assume that you're a moody guy like me, but like.
Well, it's taken me a lot longer, but I've had more practice at being able to put aside, the tension of work or the irritable, feelings that you get, just day to day, and removing those. But then again, my kids aren't running and, when I walk in the door going, hey, Dad, they're tucked away somewhere, and I have to hunt them down and go, hey, are you all right? Where you been?
Are you still here?
So, but the confrontations, they don't happen. However, they challenge me as far as judgment goes. But there was absolutely a time where I would lash out at them, and it had nothing to do with them. It had everything to do with what was going on inside of me, and lash out. And but powerful to go and recognize it, go apologize, and I'm going to do better. And I know that because my son, a couple years ago, his diet, he was hungry or something, and he lashed out at everybody. We were trying to have a nice dinner, and he just was terrible. And I don't remember the certain situation, but he ate a little bit, and then he just said, I want to say I'm sorry to everybody. And that was a moment where I was like, because he saw me do it, and he's like,
cool.
He goes, and it was like,
that's cool.
And because my wife was upset the way he was acting, it was pretty intense, and nobody could kind of get a handle on it. And it was all because of him, and he was just hangry. He was absolutely
hangry, man. And which is we get right. Yeah. We get in those funks, and I'm sorry, I was just hangry, or like, but it's like for them, they gotta be perfect, right?
Right. No, our expectations are way out of line.
Yeah. Well, no, I think so. That's powerful too. Anybody watch like. Obviously, there's a lot of great dad tips here, but like, we expect them to apologize for like anything and everything that may have upset us, which is pretty much everything, right? Exactly. Like everything they do is like,
it's never good.
It's like you're 6, like for my kids, like, you're 6 and 4, like you shouldn't know better, right? But here I am being like, oh, I can't believe, but it's like they're always like, you're always like, well. You gotta say, apologize. But it's like if they don't see, if you're not apologizing to them for your missteps, then again, I'm not a child psychologist or anything, but they're just gonna model whatever behavior you do, and like no one wants a fake apology, right? Nobody like we don't want to be training our kids to be liars just because I'm supposed to say sorry, but I'm not, they're not understanding the lesson behind it because they're just kind of getting to default mode kind of thing. So that's cool, man.
When you were talking to JJ and apologizing, acknowledging it, and then it's fine. But you don't realize that you're teaching them something at that moment, and they're picking it up on it. And it was a great moment because the mood of the whole family changed, instantly.
Yes.
Everybody's happy again.
Yeah.
And it was really, it was just hungry. He was hungry and some, he had some stuff on his plate, and it was great.
You just gotta eat.
It was a great moment, because it was just a typical, evening dinner, and but this one changed. This one was different. This one I remember because
it's awesome.
Yeah, I went up to it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's powerful, man. That's important.
It is. Man, and don't get discouraged if you have to apologize a couple times in a day.
Yeah.
I think that's, again, it's good to see kids seeing dad and mom that aren't perfect and they make mistakes because they're gonna be a little more comfortable making mistakes. Like it's.
Yeah, I feel like that's something where, as best I can, I try to remind myself to communicate to JJ and Julia, like, hey, does mom and dad mom and dad, we make mistakes, and it's like, you make mistakes every single, dad goes to work, and he makes 27 mistakes a day, minimum, I'm screwing up 27 times, right? So it's just, I guess it's you're talking about the mood of the family, cause there's in business and the work environment they talk about culture, right? You gotta have the right work culture and the right so you have a great, I really stole it from my mom, watching how she ran her business, how she interacted with the families, she didn't call them clients or just hey, these are our families that bring their kid, So there's just always talking about love. There's always this family-oriented culture that, and you try to make it perfect. It's not always perfect, but having that focus, kind of bringing that focus from work. It is the family business is the home. The home is the family business. Whether you run a business or not, the business you're running.
There's a hierarchy there.
Yes, the most important business anybody can run is home. Their family, whatever home is for them, with their kid,
Yeah.
But just, you said, just everybody feels, if one person's off, everybody feels
it, yeah.
Everybody feels it.
I didn't think of it like that, but he did. He threw everybody off, and when I think about it more, one person can throw the whole family. You know what? That one person's usually me. It's usually because we're the most influential. We can throw that off, and we do. We need somebody to check us.
Yep.
And usually, being the head of the household, sometimes we're not being checked. And but that's what's good about talking with other fathers and because we can kill ourselves. We can absolutely beat ourselves up. With all the mistakes we make.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
That's part of the fun, man.
It is.
And last thing is the next thing we want to talk about is we're kind of getting into it. Is what do you love about being a dad?
Yeah.
And this might kind of segue us into it, but just just making sure that just no matter what we do, we're owning it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that the fun is realizing that and you're talking about once you became a dad, you thought of your parents oh my God. I know for me, I'm why do we celebrate my birthday? I went to my mom after experiencing childbirth, I'm just Mom, we're not celebrating my birthday on my birthday. We're celebrating you on
really?
I don't know why you celebrate the kid's birthday. That's what an experience, right?
Right.
That's crazy,
funny.
So
right.
kind of but you start to, I don't know, man. It's just kind of and I don't know if it was you yourself kind of I feel as kids we kind of we experience things. No one tells us, hey, this is what that means. This is what life means, or this is what life's about.
Right.
But talking about they're always watching and copying what you're doing. But there's so many times where I'm well, why didn't my dad know not to do that? Or why didn't my mom know not to do that? But then you become a parent.
Yeah.
And you're just this script you thought your parents had, this secret diary of how to be a parent, it doesn't exist.
They didn't know what they were doing either.
Nobody. That's nobody knows what they're doing.
They don't know crap. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Nobody.
That was a big realization.
You don't know what you're doing, and that's perfect.
That's
you're,
okay.
you're on the right track.
That's exactly where you're supposed to be. Best that you acknowledge it,
Yeah.
that you understand that.
Nobody knows it.
You're not left out. You're just part of the crowd.
Part of the dad society. So
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, man. So I guess what are some things that you love about being a dad? Like obviously we could probably be here all day.
Yeah,
talking.
we could.
What are some things that definitely stick out to you?
Certainly those moments, where they, you see them learn something. A core value, morally that you see them act on, and they don't know you're watching. Those are proud moments. What do I love? I mean, just and this is getting into each stage of their life. I mean, we don't realize how fast they're here and gone, and we just don't realize how. And each stage of their life, like my son just got his license, and that's that's a big milestone.
It's huge.
But now I just realized I'm not going to have those times in the car with him, where we were just us and we were driving home from school and we got to have that dialogue. That's gone.
I feel like my best conversations with the kids are in the car.
Yeah, they are. And you don't know what kid you're going to get, the talkative one or the one who's just ready to shut down. But you embrace those things. But you have to kind of mourn the loss of that time and then look forward to the adventure of what's to come.
Next. Yeah.
But I still have Chloe, so that's always fun because you see one tick away and you're like, okay, don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Don't waste that time. Don't let it run away from you.
Yeah.
But I can't think of something that I totally love. I do love watching them grow, develop. I love watching the kind of people they're going to be. That's pleasant. Especially when you see them, because there's moments when when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, when you're like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, is this normal? Is my kid going to be okay, or is he? This isn't. But you see them in the long run. You see them make good decisions. But just seeing who they're going to become, and how much fun they're to be around as people.
And so when you're talking about like you don't know what kid you're gonna get, like you're gonna get the kid that wants to talk, you're gonna get the kid that wants to just not like Jade. I thought I was like completely messing up. Again, I'm talking about every dad thinks they're messing it up, right? Every parent thinks they're messing it some way. So, and I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube. YouTube. I'm always like it's been like every phase for JJ and Julia. I'm just like I can't. What's like you said, every few months it's like a whole new them, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's usually every few months I'm like, researching, reading, listening to audiobooks or going down the YouTube rabbit hole, like how am I, what's going on? How am I not understanding them kind of thing? But I was like, I put in like YouTube, how to understand your 6-year-old. And I'm like, this is probably the weirdest thing anybody's ever typed in, but it was just endless, right? It was endless, and it was, this one lady was talking about how it's like, every kid's different, but they go through like a disequilibrium, and it's kind of like this whole transition of like everything used to revolve around mom and dad, now it's starting to revolve around them. They're kind of like, they're going through a lot internally too.
Yeah, a lot of growth.
But again, kind of like this magical moment. JJ graduated from Safety Town, so I'm like, this is why I got into business. This is why I worked crazy hours, is so that I could be there for a Safety Town graduation at 11 a.m. on a Friday, and then we're gonna go out and we're gonna have lunch, and then we're gonna celebrate. And then we went and saw the Spider-Man movie. So, and then Dave, thank you for the Spider-Man movie. Awesome, that the multiverse sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, not trying to expectations. It's okay. It's decent, pretty decent. Go see it. So we go. I was trying to do something outside, but it's like all these Canadian fires, wildfires, and it was kind of like high alert. It was one of those days where it's like you're not supposed to be outside. So I'm just like I don't want to change. So like let's do something inside. So we want to go see a movie. We go see a movie. It's I thought it was great, and he was all excited like in the movie. I could tell. But then like we get out of the movie, he wants to go home and play. Do his thing there. Well, we have to go pick up Julia from daycare, and then you're sleeping over at Grammy's house today, and so just kind of, again, talking about the expectations.
Yeah.
And my mind is like, dude, you just graduated Safety Town. He has no concept that Dad worked his tail. I was up 3 in the morning every day that week working, so I could not have the like. There's something, you know, like.
Yes.
Like, you understand what it took to be able to take today off, you know, like. And even leading up to his graduation, I'm like in the parking lot across from City Hall, like on a call, like trying to like sneak in the last little bit of work, but like, you know, you have this expectation of like, he's gonna be like doing backflips as to Dad loves me so much and Dad's so thoughtful. Dad, I can't believe you worked so hard this week to make time for me. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of like, it's so funny. Like, again, they don't know how much time, like what's going on behind the scenes. Like JJ's sleeping. He doesn't see me work. Like, I'm not going to wake him up like, JJ, look at Dad. He's working really hard to be there for Safety Town graduation.
Yeah.
But it's like we see that, and then it's like, he's not like doing backflips that I'm there. His first thing he sees me, he's like, "Where's Mom?"
Right.
Ah, okay.
I know.
You know, like I'm here, you know. But and we go to the movie, and then even then I'm like expecting like in my mind for some reason backflips through the parking lot to the car. Like, Dad, thank you so much. But he just went silent for like it was like 30 minutes. Even picking up at the daycare, like he wouldn't talk to like the teachers. Just very not his stuff. As you can, I'm sorry, I'm like confiscating the conversation.
Yeah.
Like so as you imagine, Schleikers like to talk, but like it was the first time where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shut up and you need silence, and it's not like he hasn't like said, hey Dad, can we not talk, or like, hey, I'm tired or something. Like it's happened every now and then, but like going in the daycare and getting Julia and I'm, you know, holding them, and he just like, it just seemed really, it seemed like he was depressed is like kind of the impression I was getting. I was starting to get really worried, and he's not talking to anybody, and I asked him, like, I'm like, JJ, he doesn't know what a vow of silence is. Like I'm like, JJ, you taking, I'm just trying to joke to like get him to laugh, like, you taking like a vow of silence or something? Like, what's going on? Like, and he's like, yeah, and then like, but good 30 minutes, didn't say anything to anyone, and then we're getting out of the daycare, and my nephews go to the same daycare, so.
Okay.
JJ hasn't spoken a word for 30 minutes. I'm like having a heart attack. Is like, you know, is he like, what's wrong? Is he depressed? Like just all those things start going through my mind, and he just perks up. And he's like, so his cousin's Jonah. He's like, he sees Jonah out playing in front of the daycare. He's like, I want to give Jonah a hug, and he goes over and runs, gives Jonah a hug, and like, you know, just kind of like, and he's just back to being his like bubbly self. And
it's like a switch.
It's like nothing happened, so that's what kind of threw me into this whole like I am screwing this dad thing up. But it's, you know, I guess, is there anything too that sticks out with Chloe and with Spencer? Like, do you feel like it's just you're constantly gonna have those I'm screwing this up moments, and then there's enough time that goes by where you realize like, okay, I'm not screwing this up, they're changing. And I'm wrestling, like I'm not, like they can't read our minds, like we can't read their minds out of like all the changes they're going through. So, I mean, how do you handle the constant change without thinking that I'm a failure? Like,
well, something you said it sparked in me. It's you know, like he's gonna know how much I loved him and how much I appreciate him, how proud of him. You know how selfish that is of us, because that we want them to.
He's gonna give me a trophy.
Right. I mean, that's. But we're looking for that affirmation. We're looking for it. Just as fathers, we need that too, and we set that expectation. Like, if we do this, we're gonna get that.
Yeah.
It's just selfish at its core. And I mean, we're selfish people. We always are. And but when you can recognize that and you're able to step out. But yes, I have got a lot better at recognizing. But teenagers are going to give you that. I mean,
what's that like?
Ice cold and hot.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more dramatic with my daughter. Everything is just more emotional. Everything is more dramatic. It's more hot. It's more cold.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Spencer being a guy, I just maybe could relate a little bit as to what he's going through, because I've gone through it and I don't remember it all, but I get a sense of.
For the most part, we've been there, done that.
Right,
Kind of thing.
right.
Yeah.
And you know, he's not too far off the rails because you're like, yeah, I kind of identify with part. But with a girl, it's and my wife has been wonderful in explaining that because I can be hard on her and not, you know, because that's how I treated Spencer. And she asked him back, she goes, that's not how Chloe experiences. That's not what she's hearing.
Yes.
You know, I know what you're saying, but she doesn't hear it like that. And so it's like, I gotta rewire the way I look at her, the way I, you know, communicate with her.
Yep. And it's not that I didn't love Julia or I didn't think that she loved me kind of thing, but it was probably, she's probably 3.5. But it was just always like she was just, to this day, all Julia wants to be when she grows up is Erica. She wants to be mom. Like she wants to be with mom, do everything mom does, like, which is great, you know. And but again, it's being selfish. Realize you're being selfish in everything, all the time. We all are, right?
Yeah.
That's just that's human nature. Like you're not a bad person, but like our motives are selfish. Where it was like, it's not that it's like I love Julia, but like I resented the fact that she would be on her little couch in the morning, right? And she'd like be getting her little milk, and she'd be watching her little cartoons or, you know, looking at a book.
Yeah.
And it's just like this couch. She's laying there. Her feet, you know, her feet now come down to here, but like before, like it was just there was plenty of room. Mom could sit down on Julia's. She's very much Eric. She is in a good way a pit bull. Like she is very, very steadfast, very stern. You know what I mean? Very stubborn in a good way. But like Erica can sit down, everything's fine. Dad comes in, because again, selfish. I want to have that like, hey Julia, let's snuggle, or hey let's hang out for, you know, again. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I only got 5 minutes before I gotta get ready for work, and like I'm not gonna see you all day, and da. All she knows is, what I want mom here. You can't be here, right? You know, like, and so every time I would try to sit down with her, like, I want mommy, right? You know, so it's just kind of like it's like subconscious, but you start to resent them, and then like I'm like resenting Erica because like, well, if I'm Erica, of course I'm soaking it up, right? And like Erica's not doing anything wrong, right? But I'm you know, what the heck, you know, they're against me, like, and you're not it's like you're not consciously, if you say it out loud, you're like, this is silly, right? Ridiculous. You know, but like when it's rattling around in your brain,
you can convince yourself
of anything. But she woke JJ had like a birthday party, and Erica took the birthday party. I would love to tell you it was my idea that I started doing like dad dates with the kids. It was on my to-do list, right, for years.
That's a great idea.
But Julia woke up from her nap, and she just walks over to me. She's like, Dad, let's go buy toys and get some candy. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going on a date. Nice. You know, so just went to White Rabbit Kids in downtown Willoughby around the corner, and then Fiona's right next door here, and it was, talking about magical. It was, again, it was just in the moment. Again, the things that are magical are usually just out of nowhere, in the moment.
Organic.
And again, I try not to beat yourself up, though, but I'm beating myself, like, why wasn't it my idea to, hey, let's go on a little daddy-daughter date, right? But she just wakes up, I don't know, she's half asleep, like, let's go. You know, let's go get some cookies and toys, or candy and toys, and, but from that moment, after that date, like, we just had that one-on-one time, like, she's, like, eating her little cookie at Fiona's, and we're hanging, it was, like, and, like, you could feel it, like, it was, like, there was the first time, like, me and her had, like, that real connection, where it wasn't, like, Dad's here, cut Dad off because Mom might show up kind of thing. Yeah. But, like, ever since then, like, and just randomly, you know, she'll just be like, hey, she's like, Daddy, you know, like, what? She's like, I love you, and then she'll go run off, and kind of, so it's interesting, and I guess for anybody watching, it's like, if you don't feel like you have like that solid connection with your kid, like, it might be you, just not like you're just programmed how you are. Like, well, it worked with this kid. Why isn't it working with that kid? Or like, why it might. We have to change. Like, we have to adapt, and we have to like
instigate
be flexible,
that,
right? Just be like, well, dude, get off the dang couch and take her out. You know?
Why didn't it?
Treat. She's a lady. Treat her out to some fine dining of cookies and coffee.
Toys.
Toys.
Heck yeah.
So, but I guess I don't know, man. Is there different? Like with Chloe, like it is harder.
It is.
It is harder, and you try as best you can because it's not even. And I'm sorry, I'm like making this all about me now. But it's like, even Julia's in like her area watching her shows with Erica. I'm in the other. JJ's like obsessed with Zelda and like the Nintendo Switch. Like, and I love Zelda.
Spencer just did the whole Tears of the Kingdom.
Dude, yes.
Just did it.
So we're still doing Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
I can't say it on video, but Santa might have already told me that we're getting Tears of the Kingdom.
Outstanding.
But JJ, he wants to play. All he wants to do is, and that's like the whole thing with going to the movies and all that.
Yeah.
All he wants to do is go home and play Zelda.
Yeah.
Or if he can't play Zelda, he calls it YouTube Zelda. Can I watch YouTube Zelda? So he wants to watch videos about Zelda.
He's 6?
He's 6.
Yeah,
and
my son's 16, still does that.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, I'm trying to like not let him just only play video games, but it's like, I gotta catch myself like, let him, dude, he loves this. Just let him love it. Let him embrace it. But do such a good game. But like, no one, like, Eric and I don't like get back from work and daycare and say, okay, you go hang out with Julia and be cliche, the girls over here, and I'll go hang out with JJ and be cliche and be the guys over here. But does that happen too with you, where it's like it's you're not consciously, or no one's like saying it out loud, you just kind of you drift over with Spencer and Cindy drifts over with Chloe, like how?
Well, at this point though, Cindy's has her space, I have my space, and the kids have their space.
Okay.
So the kids are normally together, even though they may be on their phones or on their tablets, and maybe sometimes they'll watch something together, but they're usually together in the same room. And this is after dinner, everything's kind of wound down, and we just now we're going our different ways. So I'm not around either one of them. However, like I just told you, we just. Spencer and I, that was an evening thing, and we worked on that for 4 or 5 weeks, going through, and we made sure we didn't watch any of the videos on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we just experienced this game together, and so that was something we had. Now, I just got off vacation, and we just spent a couple days at Cedar Point. Now, Spencer doesn't ride the bold roller coasters at all. I mean, he's got a very strong survival instinct. Like, that doesn't...
No, thank you.
My daughter, on the other hand, she's got a fear of missing out. She just feels like there's something there, and she was petrified of the roller coasters. I mean, she was a champ. She went on all the big ones, and I did notice that we were looking at each other a little differently, and interacting differently, more intimately, I would say. Because we shared those experiences, and those were a lot of time in line, and we just kind of saw each other in a different light, and it was so that was powerful. But
I think that's you nailed it right there. It's about sharing. The shared experiences create the connection, right? It's like we're trying to force as much as we can. We're like, I want that connection I want that connection with my kid. Like I want them to love me as much as I love them. And throughout, like, again, going back to something we've said before, if having kids is their path, like, they're never gonna understand the way we love them until they can't. They can't. It's impossible.
I don't know another way.
Yeah, and so it's just, again, talking about it's selfish to like want that equal.
Right.
Like the equal playing field of like, I love you, and then you love me back, right?
As much as I do.
Right?
It should be equal.
Yeah. But just those shared experiences, because it's something that you always have and always bond over, and it's something that is just, it's a dad and Chloe thing, right?
Right.
And by default, just most, whether it's having the father father son, mother daughter
Absolutely.
set up. It's just like majority of stuff Chloe and Julie are gonna do is more mom
Exactly.
stuff, right? And so it's we gotta capture those moments and those
Because
opportunities. Like even if you hate roller coasters, man, like get on that roller coaster.
time is ticking,
Yeah.
and the moments will be gone. You won't have that opportunity anymore, and so you got to embrace them, better for worse.
Awesome.
Yeah. But you were talking about you want that equal kind of love. I mean, the kind of love that a father and mother have is grown up love. I mean, it's major league love, and the kids aren't capable of that.
Yeah.
And
that's okay.
We got to understand that earlier on. But I mean, something to said about a child's love for their mother, but it's still, I don't think it's on the same level as a parent.
Yep. Yeah. It's thinking it's a different type of love. Like right, like you love your mom a certain way, you love your kids a certain way, you love your friends a certain way, you love your sister. I mean, like I feel like love is love, but it does have like different. There's a spectrum.
Right.
Of it, you know what I mean? So just kind of the intensity of the parent love, right? It's like we talked about, make you go bonkers. It's gonna make you go crazy sometimes.
Well, it will. Make you sit down and record a video about it and everything.
Yeah, but there's a reason why we're doing this, right?
It's important though.
But awesome, man. So I guess and two, you're talking about like memories and shared experiences and connection, like so that the next thing that I would want to ask you is that how do you want to be remembered as a dad?
I don't know. I mean, I think about my dad. Now, my dad passed away 13 years ago before Chloe was born, which is probably for the best because she would have killed him anyway. I mean, he would have been so wrapped around her little finger. But I mean, I think of him, and that's all the things I admire about him. He was kind. He was knowledgeable. You go through this thing where you're 18, 19, 20, and your parents are idiots. My dad was an absolute idiot. And then around 24, he became one of the smartest men on the planet. Just so smart, and I respected. And yet I respected the way he let me go through that. I want to, let them be who they're going to be, and
Can you say that again? Say that again, please.
Let them be who they're going to be.
Let them be who they're going to be.
And love them.
Yes.
In spite of all of it. Let them, just because these ideas of who I want them to be, they're fantasies, they're fairy tales, but they're going to be who they're going to be, and just let them be bold and develop themselves, and support them and love them in all those endeavors.
Yeah, there's like a little small like groups I'm part of that just kind of like we're kind of like accountability buddies for things, and we'll get together every few months and kind of challenge each other in different things. And there's an exercise called like the 6 Lives. There's a book about it, and I think you can just like go on the internet and take like the survey or whatever. But it breaks like these 6 different lives that these people have. Some of it like you're super successful and wealthy, but you don't have a family, or you have a family that loves you, and like the one guy, like I think he's like a mason. He built all his kids' houses, but they don't, they're still scraping by paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, and so there's all these. It's kind of like every single thing, like half of it, you're like, oh, this would be amazing, and then the other half, you're like, So it's like it. And I'm not trying to give it away, but like, it's like you're wrestling so much at like what life would you pick.
Yeah.
And you spend all this time trying to like have the right answer, or have like try to justify why you're picking this and and you're supposed to rank them, and then you go through that whole process, and you're like you think you're the smartest person ever because you went through all this back and forth justification, go through every detail.
Yeah.
And then the question they ask to end it is, what life would you want for your kids? And like, to me, I'm like, it was just instant. Like, that one. And it was not the one I picked.
Wow.
It was the one when I was reading about it, I'm like, oh, this is this, and it was like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, the one I didn't pick, like, that's kind of the life, but there was like part of it in the story about them that I'm like, well, no, I don't want that, right? But it's like, if I could change that part, like, this is where I'm like, been kind of subconsciously building my entire business and entire life towards. But it was just kind of, it was just interesting when you look through what I want for my kids, it becomes very simple. I feel like work and life, it becomes very simple when you're like, well, I just want my kids to be kind and to to get in just to love them no matter what, and just to be their best selves and follow what they want.
Right.
So I guess, sorry man, that's what the plan, but like, I guess with, you kind of sparked that in me, like when it comes to, I mean, like them working in the family business and all that. You don't strike me as somebody who's like, you have to take over the family, it's not one of those things. So, but there might be, there are dads out there where it's like, I spent my entire life building this business, and it's for you. So again, the selfish.
Exactly.
Our kids, like, they didn't tell us like, hey Dad, get into business before I'm born, because that's what I'm gonna want to do.
Right.
It's kind of like,
they're just
so. But when it comes to like, yeah, it'd be great for you to take over, or versus like, hey, like JJ wants to be a video game maker, and like, my dad is the best dad on the planet. I love him dearly. But I remember when I was filling out college applications, I was filling an application for I think it was like the Pittsburgh Arts Institute, because I was like, it'd be cool to make video games.
Yeah.
And I'm filling that out, and halfway through the application, my dad came home from work. He walks by me and he's like, looks over my shoulder when I'm filling out, like, nope, didn't say anything. Like, neither of us said anything. Total like dad son, communication, right? Don't say anything. Just look at it, and he's just like, no son of mine's gonna be a starving artist. And he like walks off.
That was it.
And I'm just like, well, I guess we're not going to the art institute, Damn. So, and again, I look at that as, had I gone down that path, maybe I was successful, maybe I wouldn't have the life I have now. So it's like, I know, like, you can talk about knowing now what my dad was going through, having 4 kids, single income.
Yeah.
In his mind, it was like, you have to do something that makes, not something that makes a lot of money, but you can't just do something that's just a complete, coin toss, so to speak.
Right.
Or like, we never even talked about, I want to make video games. He just saw as like, well, James wants to paint paintings and sit on a street corner and beg for money, right? So like, and I guess that's another thing too, is like, communicate, right? Like,
yeah,
there's so much I feel like we all kind of have these daddy issues, because we don't communicate, like we don't talk through or talk deeper into, well, why did Dad say that? Or like, why, if that makes sense. It's just more of like, it's more of like, no, yes, because I said so, right? And
we instill that. We instill a lot of
Yes.
that from a young age.
Yes.
Put that down.
Yes.
So they might be leery to ask why.
So, but yeah, man. But JJ saying he wants to be a video, like, of all the things he could have said. So his kindergarten about me thing, it's like, well, favorite food, favorite color. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he's like, video game maker. And I'm like, oh, man, of all the things he could have said.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the cliche, like, I'm working my tail off so you can have the life I wanted but couldn't have, kind of thing. And so now it's like, we're talking about Zelda, like, well, Jay, what video game are you gonna make? And his idea is like, well, we'll put Mario and Zelda in the same game. So like, whatever it might be, so it's like, so that's kind of like, and this I promise we'll get to like what's on your dad bucket list, but that's kind of on my dad bucket list is I want to help him, again, just start now to kind of build, like, hey, let's draw out the scenes of, like, what are our characters going to be,
Right.
and what are they,
How fun.
you know what I mean? So just, again, try and make it fun, and just, but then, the other day he's like, he did like a boxing class, and now he said, I thought about it, I want to be a boxer, you know, so,
That's awesome.
so we'll do the video game, about whatever it might be, so, but I guess, too, when you're talking about, I'm so sorry, I keep like circling back in my mind to all things I'm going through. So he's a great dad therapist. You're the Kevin's a great listener. You're a listener. Oh, can you come on our show so that way you can listen to us?
Yeah, I just need a chair to
it's like shut up, Schleicher. But I guess when you're talking about like what are some things that you focus on to make sure that Chloe and Spencer know Dad has your back, regardless of who you are and what you decide to do.
Right.
Like what are some things that you focus on, or is there anything you say, or like what?
I think it's mostly what I don't do, and it's when
Can you say that again? Sorry. So it's what we don't do.
It's what we don't do.
All right.
And I'm by nature I'm a judgy person.
Okay.
And the children are not, immune to that. They still get the wrath of that judgment. I hold my tongue whenever they talk about, I'm going to go, to college to play lacrosse. Great.
Yep.
Instead of questioning it, like, dude, you're not good enough, or, hey, you don't have time for that, or,
right.
Hey, you're better. Go with it. And it's what I don't say. And you just don't bring a negative into any time they're sharing with you. You can't bring a negative to that conversation. Ask questions, be positive.
Mm-hmm.
They'll figure it out, but I think it's more, don't cut down. If they're going to share with you, that's a gift. They're sharing with you.
They're actually talking about their life.
Don't tear it down. Don't judge it, and don't try to direct it. You just let it be. And believe me, when they have questions, they'll ask them. They'll have uncertainties, and they'll have confusion, and that's when you can step in and be the parent. But when they're sharing ideas and dreams or expectations for their life, you let them go. And don't, because we want to direct them. Like, dude, you would be an awesome engineer.
Right.
And and trying to steer it that way, just because I see where his aptitude is, or Chloe, you'd be great at this, and he's, nope. Whatever you're thinking right now, we need to consider it.
Yeah.
We can't. So, because I spent a lot of my life as a father cutting them down and tearing them down with their ideas and expectations, and I can't get that time back.
Mm.
But I've learned, and that let them be who they're going to be, and support it.
Yeah.
So I think it's because we're quick to judge as fathers. We just want the best for them.
Yeah.
And we see them doing something that stupid. We call them out on that. But
well, and there's a difference between doing something stupid versus doing something, might seem risky to like doing something adventurous, like doing something that we don't understand, or doing something that we tried it and we just don't want them to hurt like we hurt, right? We don't want them
that
to
disappointment,
right? We don't want them to feel that
failure.
So so that's cool. This is good stuff.
You gotta watch them fail. You've got to, and that's one of the worst things as a father is watching them, and it's going to go south, and you just let it go.
Like, this is going to be bad.
Because those are the life lessons,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I know you're not the popular kid, or I know you're not friends with who you want to be friends with, or that I know that. I know that feeling, and I know that you're not alone.
Yeah, and that's where it's like I look back too. It's funny how, like, especially with Spencer, being in high school, and then Chloe being in middle school, and especially high school. It's like you just think like that's everything. Like there is nothing else.
Oh my gosh.
Right? There is nothing else other than did I get invited to this party?
Yes.
Did I make the team, or did I am I Susie loves, to hang out with, Sally more than me now, or like Fred, like even guys get it too, where like it's definitely like, well, I'm so like I remember like I had like these two circles of friends that was kind of like the bridge in between.
Yeah.
And then like the one, like one from one group and one from another group, like they were, they liked the same girl. So imagine, right? They like the same girl. So now they're, guys, right? Like, and so now I have one group of friends that doesn't like this group of friends. So I'm hanging out with this group of friends. I have to listen to them talk smack about this group, and then I'm hanging out with this group. They're talking. I'm just like, it's like, can we all just get along?
No, you're the power broker there. You gotta figure that out.
I try it, man. But like, yeah, just kind of how. So again, knowing there's so much more wonderful things beyond high school, like just high school or middle school. Like, how do you catch yourself from stepping in and be like, high school's stupid? Like, you want to tell them like high school's a waste. Like, don't worry about it. Like,
you do at some point. You have to go. Listen, this is not as important as you think it is.
Right.
But you can tell them that all day long. It is their world, and you've got to acknowledge that.
Yes.
And they won't get it until they're older, until they're out of college, and like, oh, why did I worry so much about this? But we still do that to this day. I'll worry about something and be like, why did I worry so much about that?
Yeah.
It's just, the stakes are higher with what we do.
Yes.
I mean, we grind every day to give, our kids opportunities that they didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And, we expect a return on it, and that's the problem. That's the expectation we can't have.
Expectations. Beware expectations.
Yes, very much.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of grand expectations, man, what is on your dad bucket list?
Can I share one that I've already checked off?
Yes.
Okay.
Even better.
Okay.
It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done.
My kids have had the opportunity to travel. As a family,
Awesome.
we've had the opportunity. We've gone to England, gone to California, San Diego, Florida a couple times.
Awesome.
We just got back from Puerto Rico.
Awesome.
Most of these, some of these were work related,
Mm-hmm.
but so my kids are actually pretty good travelers. They can navigate at airports and planes.
Good.
And one thing we noticed when we went to England was unfortunate, but we rode coach,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to walk by all these first class pods, and then business class, and then all the way in the back, we're sitting in these tiny seats.
The lowly.
And I probably imagined this, but I felt it. My kid looking at me going, "What is this?
What's the deal, Dad? Huh? What's going on? What's going on?
So and it's it's like I get it, but we're not first class people, kids. I'm sorry, we can't.
You're beyond first class people, but it's just one of those things where too, like, I guess that's another thing. Yeah, no matter how old you get, no matter how wise you get, you're still wrestling with the societal pressures of, well, if I don't have this house, or if I'm not sitting first class, or if I'm not
in this car.
like, especially, I mean, you were talking about therapy, like you were helping me get through this, this purchase of my truck that I'm getting, because it was just kind of like, I knew by the textbook I should just keep the truck I have.
Yeah.
There's things that were driving me bonkers about it.
I didn't know that.
And you didn't, but I feel bad being frustrated by, like, I didn't have an auto start, but like I park outside and like it should be no big deal. Like no one in my family like had an auto start vehicle growing up, right? So like I've always like cleaning snow off your car,
right?
Like, I shouldn't be upset by that, right? Like, and by the time of the expectation of like, well, James, you've worked very hard, so if it's a couple bucks more to have a truck with an auto start, and you're not like, it's just not a whole nother thing, because it's not about cleaning off the car. It's about every morning, did it snow? How bad? Okay, I gotta go out. I had 2 sets of keys, so I'd go out, start my car, because I'm like taking the kids to daycare to defrost the car. And then I'm like, okay, did I lock the key? Like, I'm leaving my truck running with the keys in it in the driveway, which again, I'm hoping nobody's gonna take it, but I'm I'm setting myself up to either A, get my truck stolen, or B, lock my keys in the car while it's running, and I can't even begin to focus on the kids, right? Because I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I got to do this, I got to clean up this. Is that going to probably be another 10 minutes? Well, how bad is it? Or like days where you just like, it didn't snow, but so you think you're on time or you think you're ready to go, and there's just ice on the windshield, right? And it's like, oh my God, right? It's just kind of silly stuff, but you had like wrestling with, do I splurge for this, or do I like
yeah.
I guess too, like telling decide to take the trip, because I know like again, being in business, like no matter what you do, you're seeing everything as kind of like this like cost analysis, right? Everything is like
has a dollar sign.
So like even like traveling, going on the bucket list. So if there's people out there like, well, I would love to do this as a dad, but they just see the price tag and like just no way, no how. So kind of talking about sharing experiences, to have those connections, to have those memories that like just you'll always have that. So how did you kind of get over the price tag? Because if doesn't matter if you're flying first class, it costs a lot of money to fly international. Right. So like, how did you kind of get over the price tag and say this is bigger than the price tag?
It was something I wanted to do too, but Spencer had mentioned after that trip, I need to fly first class once in my life. And I'm like, I get you, bud. We're on the same page. I need to fly first class too. Yeah. But we had Puerto Rico coming up for work, and at first I was going to go alone. And I'm like, God, I'm going to Puerto Rico. Cindy, you should come. Yeah. And then at that point, then the kids were locked. We had to take them out of school for a few days, and so we went. But we had trouble getting flights to Puerto Rico from Cleveland. Cleveland stinks trying to fly out of there.
Gotcha.
But we did find some that got us home early enough on the Monday so they could go to school the next day. And that was our kind of criteria for coming home. And the flight just got completely reworked, and they were coming in late on Monday night, and the kids would still have to go to school. And we're like, it's not going to work. We canceled the tickets. At this point, I'm like, you know what, maybe we're not going to go. And then out of the blue, around Thanksgiving, I checked flights, and I'm like, how they'll give you the ticket price and go, oh, for a few dollars more, you can bump up to economy plus. And well, we kept going, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, first class would be actually $400 less than what our original tickets were.
Oh,
so I remember I was sitting in front of the computer, and I'm like, Cindy's making dinner. She's doing 3 other things. I'm like, Cindy, get over here and look. And she's studying, and she goes, that's too much money for first class. I'm like, when are we ever going to do this for $400 difference from what we were at?
Right.
And she goes, fine, whatever. And I had just
Spencer's comment is ringing in your
the whole
head,
time.
right?
The whole time I'm like, I'm gonna check this off the box.
Yeah.
And she conceded. I kind of broke her down and got her at a weak moment. And she goes, she gives me the fine whatever, and I go, boom.
Hey, I know you're mad at me. I know that fine whatever means screw you, but like we're for the record, I heard fine, so we're doing it.
It was over.
Well, I'll beg for your forgiveness later.
And 2 days later, though, she was like, "Yeah, this can be nice." So she just was busy at the time, and she bought into it a couple days. We didn't tell the kids because we were worried of an itinerary change where this could be, canceled out. So we just sat on it for 3 months until a month before the trip.
I'm the worst at keeping like secrets and surprises, man.
We did great.
That's awesome.
They knew where we were going. And I did a whole PowerPoint of like, hey,
awesome.
This is our trip, and by the way, we're flying first class.
That's awesome.
And it was one of the, because Puerto Rico is still like an international flight, we had the whole lay flat seats, the pods with your own television. I mean, it was awesome. It was everything I imagined first class would be. And the kids are, lit up. I mean, my daughter, she had bought an outfit for flying, and I thought, well, that makes sense. And one day coming home right before the trip, my wife's like, "You've created a monster." I'm like, what's going on, Chloe? What's Mom talking about? She goes, "Well, I have an outfit for flying to Puerto Rico. I need to get an outfit for flying home for Puerto Rico." I'm like, "Of course you do. Of course."
Is that first class life? Is that first class life? So and she's got to get like a little tiny dog and a little tiny dog purse.
She was living it up. I have great pictures of that. And here's the thing, though, is
That's cool.
as a family, we really enjoyed this shared experience, but we really didn't get to share that first class experience because we were all isolated. We all were in our own pod. And I remember thinking, sitting on the plane, going, I wanted to share this experience, and all I've done is separate us. So, I checked it off the box. The kids are happy. I can put that to rest. And now I can walk through first class and just feel like, I've
been there, done that. Yeah.
It was something to do. But the kids were grateful for that, and they enjoyed that experience. But we didn't get to share it as a family as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, and so I think too, like it's a great kind of, I don't know, story or analogy for, again, be careful for wishing for this first class life.
Making, expectations.
This whole, all over again. Because it's like, again, and like just the first class on the flight, but like, working to have so much more money, to have so much more this. And again, there's nothing wrong with making money, right?
Right.
It's like we don't run our business to lose money.
Right.
But like, just at what cost, right? So like, like you find it's interesting. Like you find yourself where you like, if we just do this, it will make us happy. And then you get there, and you're like, actually, this is like, it's not that you weren't happy you were in first class, but like this is not. It's cool that you got to learn like this is not the thing we're missing, right?
No,
this is not the glorious family magic wand that makes everybody happy.
It really is. I mean, you're not chasing that carrot anymore. Find the next one.
Chasing what carrot are you chasing?
Right.
And then I like press pause and be like, is this carrot really going to bring us together? Like, is this carrot going to drive us apart, kind of thing? So.
And that it was a double-edged sword, but.
But man, was it cool though?
It was. I expected a little more kissing in first class. We didn't get that. We really didn't get it, and I really, thought I was paying for that.
Hey, what the heck? Yeah.
They were nice and everything, but I didn't feel like I was exceptional. But it was all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, if I win a first class trip, I won't complain. But I don't think I'll go out of my way to fly first class.
Been there, done that, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
So that was something that I was, as a father, excited to provide for my family.
Yes.
But now that it's done and over with, do I have to do it again? No, not at all.
But too, I think Spencer and Chloe, they're always going to have that memory, right? Like, hey, dude, you remember that one time we flew first class to Puerto Rico? Remember when Dad? And two, as again, Spencer working now, and like as they start to understand the concept of money and bills and like just having to provide for a family, like that's something where it's interesting because like you said, like it didn't have like the family bonding experience in there.
Yeah.
But like this is just as I'm thinking as we're talking, it's like you created that bond about like that future deposit of like how much they're just gonna they appreciate it now, but like when they're truly they can't truly appreciate it at the level they will eventually. If that makes sense.
Maybe. Maybe.
You better, Spencer, Chloe.
I don't know.
I'm gonna call you in 10 years. You better be.
Remember that?
20 years. I'm gonna check in.
The best part of that was actually the build-up. The month that we all knew and we were all talking about it. That was and then it was over and we're like, so.
Do you find? I'm sorry, I keep talking here, but do you find that like that's the magic is the anticipation and the suspense of the thing that's supposed to be the magical moment, but you like look back, it's like it was everything that led up to that.
Always, almost always. And I'm thinking about trips specifically, or big events. Just talking about it, discussing and just sharing that anticipation is always been the highlight of the trips like that. And we've been fortunate to be able to travel as much as we had. But I didn't really think about it until I sat down and thought about the bucket list question. I'm like, we've been some places.
That's cool.
But it's cool to see my kids travel. They know where to find the gates. They're checking flight information, and it's it's cool. And in London, we had to actually, get on a train schedule, and we went to.
Was it the tube?
We-
Isn't it like the train that you ride, the subway? Is it the subway train?
No, well, we no, this wasn't the subway train.
So okay,
We were at Paddington Station, and we went to King's Cross.
okay,
Harry
gotcha.
Potter. Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, nice.
And my son had a breakdown. Now he was, this was 5 years ago, so he was 11,
Yeah.
and we're walking through this old train station, and he's just done. He's crying. He's tired. He's hangry. He's like, I just want to go home, and I'm like, well, that's not happening. Like, we've been traveling all night, so nobody got any really.
We flew through the night. This is where Harry Potter was. You're going to love it.
This is where moms are the best. She hands him an apple. He eats the apple. He goes, all right, let's go. That was
let's
it.
go.
That was it. She
Mom's
solved
always
the
got
problem.
the stash of food.
She got a little something, and
Oh my gosh.
boom, magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, moms are great.
Yeah. Moms
In
are
fact,
best.
we should have talked more about moms a little
Yes.
bit, because I don't think I could be nearly the dad I would am without a woman like
Yeah.
her to
Yeah.
help me.
And we also we have a super mom edition of our Dad Poet Society
Okay.
stuff that we're doing, and Erica helped with because we have like the Carpe the Dad life.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out like what do we do we Carpe the super mom life, like how do we, and Erica's she's like, we'll do Viva la Supermom, which translated is long live the supermom. So long live Cindy, long live Erica, long live
Absolutely. All of them.
oh, they're always making, even before the kids, they made us better, right?
Oh,
like
without
they made us
question.
so much better.
Yeah.
And then the kids come along and you see, there's just, they have that sixth sense for parent, like tell them, by the time you and I realize, oh, we should have brought snacks, they're pulling out the snacks that they already
Right.
did, right? And it's like, we're not trying to be bad dads and not be prepared.
We're just
and
looking
like
at-
just like we're
not
like focused and worried about over here.
Traffic and
Yeah.
getting in the car seat.
Yep. And moms are able to like, they're worried about everything over here. And we're
I
we're dialed
remember
in. They're just the guy.
feeling like a third wheel when Spencer was born. Those two she just knew what to do.
Yes.
And I'm sitting back, again, absolute terror. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I really was shutting down for the most part until she, instructed me, okay, you're going to get him up at 8, you're going to feed him. And I'm like,
Yep.
okay.
We
I know
can't
what
be
to do.
taught, right? We
Right,
can't be
that's
taught. Like,
just-
show us the bullseye,
right.
and then we will do everything we can to go hit it.
But,
Right?
I'm doing everything I can to try to stay busy, but not, interact with the kid. Like, let me get his stuff and let me
Yeah.
carry
Yeah.
stuff around.
You don't know what you're doing.
Don't know what the heck to do.
No. Man.
No.
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 Where's the instruction manual?
Nobody's there to help you.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool, man. Well, anything else to share on the dad bucket list before we jump into your dad mantra?
No. No,
Okay.
I was
I
happy
love
to
it.
share that.
I
That was
love it.
That was a good one we got to experience.
So lay it on me, man. What's your dad mantra? What is the?
I'm not sure I fully understand what that
Okay.
means. Like,
So like, it's kind of like, is there like some people like they have like a song lyric or like, so for me like my mantra is kind of always, there's a poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson called Success, and it was hanging at my grandpa when he passed. Like my grandpa was like my idol of like
Okay.
he was always there for us, and he was kind of like he just was always going above and beyond all the time. So just kind of like when he passed away, he was like one of my heroes for sure. And the last line in that poem is like, to know one life has breathed easier because you lived, like this is to have succeeded. And like I feel like that, again, just my grandma gave me because like it was just a poem in a frame hanging in his office. And
that's cool.
And I read that line and just like, was in a good way, kind of like, struck me like a harpoon kind of thing. Like this is, because up to that point too, I'd been chasing success of what I thought I was supposed to just, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, work really hard, like and just kind of like just climb, like be successful, right? Like,
Right.
But like no real, like no one said, hey, well, what is success? Like define success. Like is what you're chasing what you're really after kind of thing?
Right.
So, and it was kind of like that was right in time in my life where I was realizing that everything I'd been chasing wasn't, so like the first class tickets, like I was chasing this idea that I thought was going to make me happy forever. But that's helped kind of keep me in check.
Yeah.
So like with, my mantra has just always been that the last line of the poem is just, if JJ and Julia's life, if they breathe easier because Dad lived, then I've won. I just have succeeded. Some people it's just kind of like, hey, my dad always said this, so that's kind of my mantra, or like a song. I don't like. It's like,
no, I get it.
So
I don't know if mine's as poetic or as extreme.
Mine's tough because mine's literally a poem.
Right.
So,
but it's been helpful, and I remember that I didn't incorporate it because I did hear it from my dad, and I think the best way to get a man's mantra is to ask his kids, and they would answer this as well, because I got it from my dad, and it was and I remember shortly after he passed away, I was implemented it, and with Spencer, but more so with Chloe. For some reason, it resonates with her. But the mantra, or the saying is, everything easy starts off hard. And
awesome. Can you say it again?
Everything easy starts off hard.
So true.
And I remember sharing it with my kids when they would get frustrated at learning a new skill or playing a new game, and you can repeat that, or riding your bike, and even today. I mean, to this day, my daughter took up track, and she wanted to do distance running, and because I was a bit of a distance runner.
Me too, man.
And I told her, and she just struggled, and it's a hard,
it's awful.
It's hard. It's hard.
Awful. It's awful.
And we just had to repeat it, and I can say, well, what did Popo say? And everything easy starts off hard. I'm like, that's it. Unfortunately, with distance running, it starts off hard and will continue to be hard.
It's still painful no matter what.
It doesn't matter. It just you make it look easier.
Well, I think too, that's what I loved about distance running. So again, anybody has distance running in their background and even thinking about possibly getting into business, I guess would you say too, I feel like distance running for me just completely set me up for success for business, because it's like you're working like crazy. It's not the same type of suffering. Like the running is like physical.
Physical hurts.
Physical is also very mental, torture, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then you're putting yourself through that in business. You're putting yourself through all that very extreme discomfort.
Yeah.
But you're able to kind of see well, hey, I'm gonna run 5 miles today, 10 miles, whatever it is. But I'm gonna feel so good afterwards.
Yes.
And 2, 3, 4 years from now, it doesn't matter if you're faster than me. You can't last as long. It doesn't matter if you're more talented than me. You can't last as long. So it doesn't matter if your business idea is better than mine. You can't last. So I guess is that something? I guess too, when you're saying that everything easy starts out hard, I guess is that something that has served you in your business and in your marriage? Marriage is the hardest job on the planet. I mean, in a good way.
It is. It is. No.
But does that help you succeed? Again, talking about defining it, but do you feel like that mantra continues to help you see past what's happening right now to say, okay, it's all about me and Cindy. We got this. We're gonna get through this, and me and Spencer and Claire, we're gonna get through this, and every time we're gonna get through this.
It hasn't helped me, I think, in regards to the family dynamic as far as a father and a husband. Certainly business-wise. I mean, again, cars are changing every single year. It's continuing the training. There's new softwares, and I'm not a tech-savvy dude. I really struggle with that, and I kind of laugh when I'm staring at a new software that I've got to figure out, because I don't have anyone to figure it out for me. I've got to figure this out.
The irony.
And but that's just a tangible that I can actually lay my okay. And in a year it's easy all of a sudden.
Gotcha.
I laugh at that, so that helps me in that regard. It isn't a mantra that I think I incorporate, other than trying to guide my children, and also letting them know that I've experienced this too. Listen, I got this. This is crap. This is hard. I said, but I have to do it. And then back to distance running. I mean, and it also taught me patience. This is a 3.1 mile race, and basically you're going to start. You're going to put your head down, and you're going to drive. And hopefully 17 minutes it'll be over.
Yes.
So just keep working.
Or 1659 because that sounds way cooler, right?
Way better. Wait, you got the 16s?
Yeah,
Damn
PR,
right.
yeah, PR, that's right.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, anything else to add that
No.
we didn't chat about? Man?
No, I appreciate you asking
This is
me
awesome.
to be here. I really
Yeah.
do. I hope if there's anything, any nugget that would be helpful, I'm grateful for that. But again, I'm just happy to be here. This was fun to discuss and
Awesome.
open up about. It really
Yeah.
was. So
Awesome.
again, I appreciate your time and good luck to all the fathers out
Yes.
there.
Good luck.
You're not doing it right. Don't worry. If you're not doing it right, you're doing it right.
That's right.
So,
That's right. You're not doing it right, but you're not doing it wrong.
You're
right?
not, no.
It's
yeah, we're no perfect fathers,
keep
that's
going.
for sure.
Keep going. So.
I still don't know if I know what I'm doing. I don't.
But we may never know.
No,
never
we
know.
won't.
So,
We won't know.
That's awesome. Well, very good. Appreciate it, my man.
Great.
Thank you
Thanks
so much.
again, buddy.
Thank you
I
so
appreciate
much.
it. Yeah, thanks
Awesome.
again.
Awesome. And everybody, thank you for joining us for the last episode of this season for the Dad Poet Society. So until next time, carpe the dad life, seize the dad life. There is no better life. So thanks for being with us. Have a good one.
See ya.